Sometimes the most powerful stories aren't the ones you find in the headlines or history books. Nope. They're the ones you find in these quiet conversations during a chance encounter on a long train journey. And we're about to dive into one of those. An absolutely incredible, first-hand story of courage that, well, has stayed under the radar until now.
These were the words a soldier spoke to a complete stranger on a train. Think about that. He decides to share a secret, and that one sentence. Wow. That's our way into a mission that was just as profound as it was dangerous. It's a story about brotherhood, sacrifice, and one absolutely unbelievable moment under fire.
So, let's set the scene. It all starts on a cold December morning. The narrator's on a train from Ayodhya Junction, the usual hustle and bustle. But then, at the very next stop, the whole vibe of his journey changes. A man in uniform, wrapped in a brown shawl, steps into the compartment.
And this is the man, Lance Naik Arihant Yadav. He's got this calm, commanding presence, the kind you see in someone who has seen things most of us can't even imagine. He's not on a mission or anything, he's just a guy from Mathura, heading home. But as we're about to find out, his journey carries the weight of a warrior.
For Arihant's family, serving the country isn't just a job, it's a legacy. It's just what they do. His grandfather was a hero in the 71 war. His father served too. And now that duty falls to him and his younger brother Arjun. As Arihant puts it, they are both fools in love with this motherland. It's not a career choice, it's just in their blood.
And right here, this is where the conversation turns. Arihant leans in and he starts to tell the story of Operation Sindoor, a classified, super high-risk mission that went down in the remote, snow-covered mountains of Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay, so the objective was critical. Intel had spotted some heavy enemy movement near a forward post, so Arihant's unit got the job, a covert op to intercept the threat and stop a potential ambush on their entire battalion. I mean, the stakes just could not have been higher.
And this wasn't just some tactical mission. It was a straight-up battle against the elements. The conditions were insane. Snow up to their knees, hands so cold they were stiff, and a silence so complete. Arihant said it felt like a scream. It was just an incredibly tense, hostile place to be.
And then Arihant adds the single most important detail of the entire mission. His younger brother, Arjun, was right there with him, side by side. And just like that, this dangerous, classified operation becomes deeply, intensely personal. It's not just about a soldier and his unit anymore. It's about two brothers facing death together.
This line says it all, doesn't it? In that freezing, terrifying silence, they didn't need to talk. A simple nod was enough. They shared the same blood, the same mission, and this unspoken understanding that really only brothers in arms could ever have. All right, so this brings us to the most unbelievable part of the story, the climax. Because in the middle of all that chaos and danger, something happens that is so surreal, it just defies the logic of war and gets to the very heart of what it means to be human.
So really try to picture this. You're moving positions under live enemy fire. Shells are literally exploding around you. Your life is on the line second by second. What is the absolute last thing you would expect anyone, anywhere, to do in that moment? What could possibly happen?
This, while shells were falling, Arjun pulls out a device, turns to his brother, and with a bloody grin on his face, he takes a selfie. He even whispers, "Brother, this will also be remembered." It's just a moment of pure madness, of total defiance in the face of death. An act that seems so out of place, but at the same time feels so incredibly real.
Arihant himself, thinking back on it, had these mixed feelings. He knew it was reckless. It didn't make any logical sense. It was stupid, even. But at the exact same time, it was this act of incredible bravery. It was like reclaiming a tiny piece of their humanity from the absolute inhumanity of war.
But the mission didn't end with that selfie. The unit pushed on, and what they did next had huge consequences. And this is where we get to the deeper meaning behind the whole operation and the reason it had such a unique name.
And they succeeded. They did it. They secured the ridge, and in doing so, they saved their battalion from a deadly ambush. In the middle of the fight, Arihant actually got hit by shrapnel in his shoulder, but he completely refused to be evacuated until the mission was over. Just an unbelievable testament to his dedication.
So why Sindoor? Later, Arihant explained it. He said, "Our land bleeds red when we protect her, but to us it is sacred, like the sindoor in a mother's maung." What a powerful metaphor. It transforms the bloodshed of battle into this sacred offering, a symbol of protection and devotion, just like the sacred red powder worn by married women in India.
As the train started getting closer to Mathura, the story began to shift away from the battlefield and more toward the man himself, his hopes, his fears, and the legacy he carries with him, beyond the uniform.
This really gets to the heart of it, the two realities of a soldier's life. On one hand, to his kids, he's Superman. He's this invincible hero. But his private reality? He's just a soldier, carrying this heavy, heavy burden of memory, terrified of forgetting the names of the friends who didn't come home.
So what does a man like this dream about for the future? It's not about rest. It's about continuing to serve. He wants to open a small training camp. And it's not even necessarily to create more soldiers, but to pass on the values he lives by: courage, discipline, and a deep, deep love for their country.
And as the train pulled into Mathura Junction and Arihant was getting ready to leave, these were his last words. A simple, humble request to a stranger. He didn't ask for fame or glory. He just asked for their story. His story, Arjun's story, their unit's story to be told. The writer kept his promise, and the story ends with this dedication, which kind of widens the lens from just Arihant and Arjun to every single soldier who serves in silence. Dedicated to every soldier who smiles through pain, loves through separation, and fights so we can sleep in peace.
And that really leaves us with a final thought. This whole extraordinary story was discovered just by chance, on a train. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, how many other stories just like this are out there, in quiet corners and passing conversations, in the hearts of the people we meet every single day, just waiting for someone to listen.